Yeah.
We are paying 78, yes. 15 that like that over the years.
Everybody back in your seats that you were in before you went to lunch. Oh, you wouldn't worry about that. Pick your thumbs up. Don't sit on the helmet. Back in the seats that you were in before you went to lunch. All right. Good afternoon. You may be seated. Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time with us. At this point in time, Mr. James Reed will ask the general questions followed by the defense.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few questions. I'm going to follow the same procedure that the court followed earlier this morning. I'll ask you a series of questions. You can respond in the affirmative by raising your numbers. And I'll take your numbers down. I'll start with the first row, the second row in the jury box, and then I'll start with the first row in the gallery, all right? My first question is, do you all recognize, does anyone here recognize anyone else in the jury pool? Let me make sure I specify. By the jury pool, I mean anyone here right now or anyone that you would have seen on Friday. And when I say do you recognize, I don't mean, you know, you recognize the person because you saw them on Friday, but you knew them before this process. Anybody that's here right now with you, prospective jurors, or anybody that you saw on Friday? I have juror number 79, juror number 78. Anyone else in the box? Second row of the box. I have.
So you said if not people that we met on Friday, but if we knew them before then?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Anybody on the second row? Anyone else want to change their response based on that? Okay. First row in the 98. Have I missed anyone? All right. My next question, is there anyone here who has seen any press coverage concerning this case since you filled out your questionnaire on Friday? Have you seen any additional press coverage? Keep them up. I've got to take them all down. I have juror number 78, juror number 79, 82, and 83. Second row in the box, I have juror number 84, 86, 88. 90, 91, 93. To my left, I have jurors number 96, 97, 98, 99, and 101. Have I missed anyone? My next question is, have you or someone close to you ever dealt with sexual harassment in the workplace? Have you or someone close to you ever dealt with an issue of sexual harassment in the workplace? I have on the first row, I have juror number 59 and juror number 80. On the back row, I have juror number 88. Have I missed anybody in the box, in the jury box? To my left in the gallery, I have jurors number 96, 97, 98, and 99. Have I missed anyone? Okay. My next question is, does anyone here have a close friend or a family member, that is suffering from a mental illness? Close friend or family member that is suffering from a mental illness. 59, 80, and 83 on the front row. On the back row, 86, 88, and 90. Have I missed anyone in the box? To my left, I have 94, 96, and 98. My next question is, as you've come in here today and you've seen the defendant, does she remind you of someone that you know? Someone that you went to school with, your next door neighbor? Does she remind you of someone that you know? On the front row. On the second row of the box. To my left. My last question, ladies and gentlemen, is, does anyone here have a prejudice or a bias towards prosecutors or a prosecutor's office? Do you not like the DA's office or solicitor's office, or for any reason whatsoever, and I'll use it the way the judge used it, ever in your life? All right? On the front row. On the back row. To my left. Thank you very much.
Mr. Clay, does the defense have any general questions at this time?
We do not, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the general questioning has concluded. The next phase of the trial, we're going to go into what is called individual questioning. And with the assistance of the clerk, you're going to be waiting in a, for lack of a term, an area outside of this room. You'll be brought in one at a time, and both the state and defense will have an opportunity to ask you questions, and they will follow up on anything they deem appropriate at the time. Before you leave, if you still have those placards, go ahead and pass those placards to the end, and Ms. Jackson will pick up those. And if you're in the gallery, if you can pass them all the way down to the end, and the deputy will assist me and pick up those numbers. All right? Let me go ahead, once those are all gathered, let me go ahead and turn them up. Is Ms. Jackson going to take mine? Yeah. All right. Those members who are here for the jury pool, you can follow Ms. Jackson to the back hallway, and she'll give you some instructions, and we'll bring you out one at a time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your understanding, and thank you. You may be seated. Lawyers 15.
May we approach jury?
Oh, yes, sir. No, come on, Lord. Yes, sir. Come on, Lord.
Okay.
And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Hellinger, along with defense attorney Jamila Hall, and we are outside the DeKalb County. Let me turn down this audio that we have here as we are listening to the trial along with you wherever you may be this wet, rainy afternoon in North Georgia. And well, here we are. We are back from the lunch break. And what is the expectation for people who are viewing this today? What can we expect to see in the next couple of hours?
Well, we're going through jury selection right now, and what it is the attorneys on both sides are looking to ask the jurors certain questions to see if they can figure out if that juror is going to have a bias or a particular preference for their side. At the same time, those attorneys are also trying to present themselves and give their first impression to the jury and perhaps, advance their case. So you'll see lots of questions that are targeted to specific aspects of the case.
All right, we're sitting on 37 right now. The goal has been 40 or 41.
Right.
Then by 1:30 tomorrow afternoon, Judge Adams has said that he would like to have the 12 jurors selected with the 3 alternates. That all seems within reason right now as far as the target date goes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they will finish today with a pool of 40 or 41, and tomorrow at 1:30 we'll be starting to whittle down to the final 15.
All right, let's talk a little bit about surprises. As we have listened to jurors today, I heard one juror, I believe it was number 59, was asked this question by the judge: are you related to the defendant? And he paused and said, "You mean from the beginning of man?" Which would, I think, one of the more interesting responses that we have heard today that kind of snapped everybody out of a malaise as we were listening to those issues about whether people are biased or not biased.
Yeah, sometimes you need those lighthearted moments in the courtroom, and the judge has been very good about keeping it light. But at the same time, I think that they want to make sure that the jurors don't have any connection to the case. And if they were, in fact, related to one of the attorneys or the defendant or any of the witnesses, they might perhaps have a particular opinion already.
All right, Jamila Hall, thank you very much. We appreciate it. As you can see, right now the lawyers are now going back to their seats. And we are also looking at some of those in the courtroom today. I believe the woman that is sitting next to the woman in the light jacket there is the mother of Andrea Sneiderman.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, the judge also is expecting that the evidence part of this trial will begin on Monday, so Friday will be a day when apparently nothing is going to go on.
Well, nothing will go on that we'll be seeing, but the attorneys on both sides will be scrambling to get their case together, to prepare their opening statements and preparing the witnesses, so that when we start on Monday, it will go full steam ahead. You'll have some pretty compelling opening statements, and then they'll start the opening of evidence.
Andrea Sneiderman today with her hair pulled back and in a pink sweater, as you can see. Yesterday was her mood, I think, best described as buoyant. She seemed, before the judge came into the courtroom, to be smiling and laughing and joking with her attorneys and also with her mother and some of her friends in tow. But today she has been more serious. She has been more dour in her approach to the circumstances and the situation that have been unfolding this afternoon.
Yeah, Jeff, I've noticed that. And I think, one of the things her attorneys probably told her is that while they're evaluating the jurors for their potential, the jurors are also evaluating them. The jurors are looking at Ms. Sneiderman, they're looking at the defense attorneys and the prosecutors, and they're taking that and getting that first impression, and that might carry through the entirety of the case.
Speaking of the Sneidermans, this is Rusty's brother on the left and Rusty's father. Rusty, of course, was shot and killed outside the Dunwoody daycare in November of 2010, and we have heard the very strong words from the brother about 1,000 rabbis unable to wash the blood off of Andrea Sneiderman, that famous soundbite that was given long ago, but it certainly has resonated with so many people in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, you never want to forget about the victim in this case, and Mr. Sneiderman, suffered a terrible death. And I think that's what's really brought this case into the profile that it has now. So many people are interested to see what will happen here because you've got a lover's quarrel, essentially. And unfortunately, Mr. Sneiderman was the victim of it all.
Some of the family frustration of the Sneidermans from Ohio must certainly be with the murder charges being dropped on Friday. And now she is facing these 13 felony counts, which, if convicted, will be sent away to prison for quite a while. Still, murder charges are something that they wanted to see brought up against Andrea Sneiderman.
Yeah, I think the murder charges would give them a sense of closure here in the case. I think perjury charges, while they are felonies, are not viewed as serious as a murder case, of course. And perjury doesn't necessarily get to the essence of the crime, whether Ms. Sneiderman actually had some intent with respect to Mr. Sneiderman's murder. I think the family wants an answer to that question.
Let's talk once again about the prospective jurors. There is economic and personal hardship for all of these involved. The amount of money that you are paid by the county is $25 per day, and who among us could step away from our lives for a period of 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, and you're being paid that kind of money? I mean, there's no law in Georgia that says your employer has to pay you during the duration of a trial.
Yeah, absolutely. It has presented a hardship for several jurors in past trials that have gone on for weeks on end. And this trial is expected to go on about 3 weeks. It will be a hardship for the jurors, and unfortunately, the way that our system is set up, there's nothing more that the court can do. You can't excuse jurors just because, unfortunately, they have an economic situation that will prevent them from serving. So they're going to have to go ahead and make the sacrifice.
You are a young defense attorney yourself, representing a lot of white-collar crime, and District Attorney James is a young man. He is 40 years old. When he looks across and he sees those former district attorneys of DeKalb County, sees all of that experience, all of those lofty reputations that have meant so much to so many in this part of the world over the generations, how intimidating is that?
It's an interesting question, Jeff, because having been in that position as a prosecutor, and when you look across and you see these very prominent defense attorneys, it actually emboldens you because you realize that what you've got to do is hold on to the facts that you have in your case, put those forward, and just assert what you know is right, and the jury's going to come back with the right result. I think that's what you'll see in Mr. James, and I think that's what most young lawyers do when they're faced with these sort of prominent defense attorneys.
All right, Jamila Hall, thank you. Let's go back into the courtroom right now.
It says, you mentioned a yes. Did you hear or see anything specific regarding the state's Andrea Sneiderman?
Well, I can.
Let me finish my question.
Okay.
And then it says, yes, what did you see or hear? And you indicated her testimony. And so what I'm asking you is, did you form an impression relative to her testimony? Did you form an opinion relative to her testimony? Do you have an opinion?
No opinion on guilt or innocent,
Yes.
Or just any opinion at all,
Opinion at
or
all,
like her height, or or I don't really know what you're saying there, but I guess you want to know what I felt, and I guess, am I obligated to tell you what I felt?
Yes, sir. All jurors have taken an oath to tell the truth and respond to the questions that are propounded either by the lawyers or by any party in this action.
Okay. I formed an opinion. I thought she was, like pretty hard, like, tough.
Yes, sir. On question number 61, it asks, do you feel that you cannot or should not serve as a juror in this case for any reasons not covered by this questionnaire? And you have yes. Could you let us know why you feel that you should not serve as a juror in this case?
Well, if I don't work, I don't make any money. And if I don't make any money, then I can't live in my house, I can't drive my car.
Yes, sir.
And it's just me,
What do you do?
I'm a plumber.
Okay.
And I plumb, part of my job is I plumb dialysis clinics. And there are occasions when emergencies happen where, just a couple weeks ago, a car ran through the side of the clinic and wiped out some stations, and RO water and acid and bicarb, and I had to go over and remedy that, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the night type thing.
And
So it's work related.
do you have any employees, or is it just you?
It's just me.
Okay.
It's just me.
And if you're here in a 3-week trial, how would that affect your business?
If I can't do it, people find somebody else to do it. But on the dialysis, I don't know. At what point, maybe I'm necessary.
Would you
Would you lose money? Would it be a financial hardship?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Mr. Clegg?
Just to make sure I understand, sir, you are completely self-employed, correct?
Yes, sir.
And if you
Well,
were,
excuse me, I'm self-employed, and then I'm relying on my customers,
Yes.
So yes, it's just,
but no one else, you don't have anyone else, if a customer calls you up, if you're not available, correct?
that is correct.
And you would experience severe financial hardship if you were called upon to sit on a lengthy jury trial, correct?
Yeah, I would have no income.
And would that affect your ability to focus on and listen to the evidence, the fact that you might not have the financial resources to get by because you were sitting on this jury trial?
I can't really say if it would affect it. I hope it wouldn't, but I would be concerned, I understand my role in society is to, be a juror if necessary, but, I mean...
Would it create a real financial problem for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
There would
And if
be
I
no money
understand
coming.
correctly, you did raise your hand in response to one of the judge's question about whether they had formed and expressed an opinion about this case. Is that correct?
Yeah. Now,
Go
see,
ahead, sir.
well, I don't know what you mean by opinion. I mean, I have opinions,
Well, I'm going to try to focus
okay,
that a little.
all right, sorry
Okay.
about that.
Do you have an opinion as you stand here today about the guilt or innocence of Mrs. Sneiderman?
Honestly, no, I don't.
Okay. You do have an opinion that you formulated after watching a portion of her testimony on TV, is that correct?
I have an opinion of like what I saw, and like, I thought, what I said. I thought
Yes, sir.
she was, hard, tough
Okay.
type.
She had a certain degree of tenacity about her. Would that be a fair statement, if you understand that term?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay. But as far as, did you draw any sort of conclusion or make any conclusion as to whether she was being truthful in her testimony or not?
No, not really.
So as you stand here today, you have no opinion one way or the other as to whether she is either guilty or not guilty of the charges that are pending against her?
As far as what I know, I wouldn't be able to say if she was one way or the other.
You would be able to rely on the evidence that was actually produced in this court. Is that correct, sir?
If that's all I had, yes.
Sure. Okay, and that's all. If you were to be told this case has to be decided upon evidence produced in this court and on this court alone, could you follow that instruction?
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. If you can follow the instruction of the clerk. Stay position.
Your Honor, I think he clearly articulated financial hardship. He's self-employed in a classic sense. He doesn't own he doesn't own a company. He does work and he gets paid directly for that work. He doesn't have employees. And he said 3 weeks that he would be here working would be 3 weeks that he would not be generating income. I think that qualifies as that qualifies him for financial hardship.
Mr. Clegg?
I believe Mr. James is correct.
All right, lawyers, based upon that consensus, all will agree, 78 can be released for cause. Next potential juror lawyers would be number 79. Bring in 79, please. You may proceed, Mr. James.
Juror number 79, looking at the questionnaire, and on question number 62, you indicated that the name J. Tom Morgan sounds familiar to you. Is that the extent of your, I guess, knowledge of Mr. Morgan?
It is.
Okay.
It is from.
All right, so you don't have any other relationship or any other interaction or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay, is there anything about, and I've asked the question, but is there anything about his name sounding familiar to you that would sway you one way or the other in this case?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You also in question 46, it says, is there anything about the nature of this case that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial? And I can read part of the response, the part that says divorce. Can you sort of...
Oh, yeah, I did say perhaps or maybe it could affect my impartiality because I understand this case has something to deal with maybe a relationship outside of the marriage, so it brings into a little bit of a question as to truthfulness in the marriage. And in my own personal case, I'm not divorced, but I've been contemplating it based on some financial malfeasance and so forth, and untruthfulness and so forth around those lines. So I'm thinking that in answering that question honestly, that it could impair my impartiality towards a defendant.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I'm just saying it could impair my impartiality toward a defendant who may have had some questions.
Well, I need to ask you some specific questions around that. You said it could impair your impartiality
Right.
Around the defendant. You understand that your own personal situation and what's going on here could be different, correct?
Sure, yeah.
All right. You understand that if you're selected to sit as a juror in this case, the court's going to instruct you that
Sure.
you're to set aside any of your personal feelings or beliefs or experiences and look at the evidence and judge the evidence and the facts objectively and fairly and impartially. And the court gives you that instruction to set those personal beliefs aside
Sure.
and to only make your decision based off of what you hear in the courtroom. Would you be able to do that?
I'm just telling you my feeling that I'm a human being and I understand the instructions, but if you want honest feedback, provide honest feedback. It would impair. It could impair based on.
It could. So you're saying you're not sure if it would and you're not sure if it wouldn't?
I would say that it would, the bar would be pretty low. Let's take, for example, there may be some electronic records or something that could indicate that someone was untruthful. Me being a technologist, I understand that electronic records are kept. Also being a technologist, I know that people sometimes think that because they've got their client or their phone, they can delete that record. That record is actually kept elsewhere. Eric Snowden and all that issue there, right, proves all of that, right? So it would be a pretty low bar, in my opinion, to prove that, someone had relationship and untruthfulness. Ipso facto, you're untruthful here, you're untruthful there, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just saying that, probably don't want a guy like me with a very low bar to find the rest of the situation. I would tune out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Who's going to question this juror? Mr. Morgan?
Excuse me, Juror 79, when you were asked a general question by His Honor as to whether or not you have formed an opinion in this case, you raised your no.
I did.
Okay. And what is that opinion based on, sir?
Going back to my previous statement, I believe that, you know, there's based on the fact that the state is bringing certain accusations to the table, there must be some electronic evidence that proves, you know, some perjurous statements. And
So you believe the state has evidence, but you're not aware of that evidence?
I've not seen the evidence, no, I've not.
The reason I say that is because I was wondering if anything's changed since Friday, because in your jury questionnaire, and I'm trying to put you on the spot
Yeah, I
here,
understand.
you didn't mention that at all.
Right, and we were also asked another question here momentarily that says, has any of your statements changed, right?
Right, and
so,
you took the words right out of my mouth.
right,
But
okay.
what's changed since Friday?
Well, again, reconsideration and understanding of the state bringing some evidence. I'm probably confident that the state did a professional job in gathering evidence, and it's probably, again, going to be a low bar to show me some electronic evidence one way or the other.
Okay.
So,
Well, let me ask you this. Both sides may put up expert witnesses in this case regarding electronic evidence. Can you keep an open mind as to both sides?
I mean, in my opinion, I have not seen evidence or anything, but I could describe for you, Mr. Morgan, the type of evidence that I would be looking for. Some kind of a text message from, you know, Verizon or whatever.
I don't mean to cut you off, Juror. I would like you to answer his question.
Yes, I could.
He asked you to describe.
Yes, sir, I could be open, but
You
again,
could be open to both sides, so that was the question.
possibly.
Well, again, what I just want to get at is there's nothing you've seen or heard since Friday when you filled out this questionnaire that's changed your opinion. You just reconsider the answers.
Or considered after, you know, thinking more
Well,
about.
that's fine. I just
the-
want
yes.
to make sure there's nothing that happened in the last, few.
No, I'm not seeing evidence on television or
Okay.
anything. No one's presented evidence to me or anything. No.
You received your undergrad from Tech and your master's from Georgia State. You got MBA, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And you just started your job at EMC. Is that the Electrical Municipal Corporation?
No, it's not. It's a IT company that sells enterprise class information technology.
Okay. And you've only been there a few weeks, is that right?
Yeah, changing jobs from another position.
Have you checked with them about their policy on jury service if you were to
I have
miss the
not.
next 3 weeks of work?
I have not. But given the fact that it is a new position for me, again, it would impair my ability to earn. And again, you'd be facing a juror who is seeing the meter running in the opposite direction. Sir, like your meter is running right now in the positive direction. The longer it takes, my meter is running in the opposite because I'm a sales rep. And if I'm not in the field selling.
Again, you're always one step ahead of me. As a sales rep, are you a commissioned
Yes.
employee?
Yes.
And so you depend on sales for
Yes.
those commissions? And
Yes.
if you're not working the next 3 weeks?
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
will lose those commissions, is that my question?
Absolutely.
Will that present a financial hardship?
Yes.
And if so, would it be, as the judge asked earlier, is it one where you could, a severe financial hardship? Lose your job, lose your home?
This is why I raised my flag when he asked that question.
And you did, I remember you calling it. Okay. Again, you just started this job, it's a commission job, and you will depend on those commissions, is that right?
Absolutely, correct.
Now, your wife works outside the home, correct? She's a pharmacist?
That's correct.
Would she be able to carry the load while you were missing these sales?
No, I don't believe so.
No further questions.
All right, sir, if you could follow the instructions of the clerk, thank you very much.
Okay.
State's position.
I don't think it's qualified, Judge.
I agree, Judge. Or financial hardship.
All right, lawyers, I will go along with that consent at this time. Number 18 should be coming in next. Number 80. Should be 80, yes?
Yes, sir.
80, thank you. Ms. Harris, you may proceed.
Okay, juror 80. Let me start by asking you a few follow-up questions based on the answers you gave this afternoon, okay?
Okay.
First thing you told us was that you know someone who, or you dealt with sexual harassment in the workplace, is that correct?
Yes.
Would you tell us first who or how you dealt with the sexual harassment situation?
Well, I'm a chef, so every restaurant I worked in, I was sexually harassed by someone there.
So you were actually the victim of the harassment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said every place you worked, so approximately...
Well, every restaurant.
Every restaurant?
Maybe about 3 different ones.
3 different restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So you had 3 separate incidents involving sexual harassment. In each of those incidents, did you deal with them the same way or differently?
Well, one of them, I went to management and let them know, and they dismissed it. And the other ones I just dealt with myself.
And why did you choose to deal with the others yourself?
It happens all the time, and no one ever deals with it. So I just deal with it myself.
Okay. And to what degree would you say you were harassed?
To the point where someone come in and kiss me on the neck at work.
What was the, I don't want to say the relationship, but was this an individual that was on the same
Yeah, they worked the same.
level?
They worked the same line with me and my coworker.
And in that situation, was that the one where you went to management, or did you deal with that one yourself?
I went to management. Actually, management was right there looking at it. And they just did like this.
Okay. And what were the other 2 incidents?
A manager off duty approached me after work, and the other incident was just a coworker or someone underneath me approaching me, asking me out, and every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
When the coworker asked you out the first time, what was your response?
No.
And then they asked you again?
No.
And each time you said no?
No.
Did you ever equivocate and say maybe?
No.
Did you ever go with them?
No.
And did you ever in any way respond to any of the advances that were made towards you,
No.
other than to say no?
I'm saying.
Other than the fact that you told them no,
Mhm.
did you ever respond in any other way? Or did you make yourself clear by saying no?
I mean, I've always said no. I mean, I might have got an attitude afterwards if you kept asking me, but outside of that, I don't think I did anything else.
Okay. Would you say that it was clear to the other person?
Yeah, it was clear.
That you did not appreciate the
Yeah,
advances?
it was clear.
Okay. Do you ever feel as though you gave mixed signals?
No. Unless I smiled, try to be friendly, but outside of that, no.
Okay. Now let me move on to the next answer you gave us this afternoon, which was you know a family member or a close friend who suffers from a mental illness?
My brother.
Your brother, okay. And has he actually been diagnosed?
Yes.
What's his diagnosis?
Schizophrenia.
Okay. How long has your brother been dealing with schizophrenia? His whole life, or was it something that he has recently been diagnosed with?
No, maybe 17 years.
Okay.
I think he's 37. 38. He's 37, he'll be 38 this year.
So at age 17, or he's been suffering for 17 years?
I don't know when he was diagnosed.
Okay.
But after he got out of jail, I think he went through something when he was in jail. And when he got out, he started having problems. And
Okay. When he got out, was his behavior noticeably different?
yeah. Yeah.
And was it something that you would characterize as being constant? Like, was his behavior that way all the time, or was it sporadic?
Sometimes you can have a normal conversation with my brother, just like to this day you can, and sometimes you can't.
Okay, so sort of sporadic.
Yeah.
But was it clear in those times when he clearly was suffering from his illness, was it clear that,
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
is different?
Yeah.
Okay. Other thing I wanted to talk to you about was another answer that you had in your questionnaire.
Okay.
And it asked your feelings and opinions about the criminal justice system.
Okay.
And do you remember what your answer was?
That I think minorities are punished harder than non-minorities.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, in this case, the defendant is Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Anything about the fact that you hold these views or these opinions and the fact that she is a Caucasian female that you think would impact you if you were to serve as a juror on this case?
No.
Do you think you could be fair and impartial despite the fact that you do believe minorities are punished more severely?
Yeah.
You have actually been called to testify in a criminal trial before, is that correct?
Yes.
What do you think about that experience?
It was fine. I was just supposed to tell what happened, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like doing stuff like that. I don't want anyone's guilt or innocence in my hands. But they just asked me to tell what happened. I told what happened, and that was that.
Okay. Well, let me now follow up on something you just said to us, which is you don't want anyone's guilt or innocence in your hands.
No.
Do you understand that if you are selected to serve as a juror in this case, one of the things you would be asked to do would be to deliberate the evidence and to reach a verdict?
I'm aware.
Based on the fact that you don't want anyone's guilt or innocence in your hands, do you think you would be able to live up to that expectation?
I have to do what I have to do, but I don't want to do it.
Okay, so it's not something that you look forward to doing.
No.
But do you believe you could do it?
Yes.
Okay. And by us asking you to do it, is it in opposition to any moral or religious convictions that you have?
No.
All right.
Just morally, if I have to know without a shadow of a doubt that someone is guilty or innocent. So it's like if it's any doubt, then I can't say someone's guilty or innocent.
Okay. Now let me ask you this, and I've heard what you said, but if you're selected to serve as a juror,
Mm-hmm.
the court will instruct you on what the law is, okay?
Okay.
And let's just say the bar is if the bar is different from what you are instructed by the court to consider and what you believe the bar should be, would you be able to set aside the way you feel and follow the court's instruction regarding?
I mean, my feelings don't have anything to do with it. What I always have to do with what the court instructed me to do.
Understood. And not necessarily, I probably should not have said feelings, but the level, the bar, the level of evidence that you would require.
Mm-hmm.
Could you require that evidence in accordance with the law that the court gives you? Or would you hold the state to the standard that you just told us, which is beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you have any doubt that despite what the court tells you, you would hold the state to the level that
I don't quite understand.
Okay. Would you be able to follow the court's instruction if it differs from your own personal feelings regarding your responsibilities as a juror?
Would I go contrary to what the court has told me to do?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And if the court tells you something that doesn't necessarily fall in line with maybe the way you feel or think, would you still be able to follow the court's instruction?
I have to.
Okay. You also told us in your questionnaire about your husband and I guess the situation that he dealt with back in '92.
Mm-hmm.
Were you acquainted with your husband at that time?
No, I was 11. I didn't know.
Okay. You didn't know him. Have you talked to him about the situation and maybe formed any opinions?
About his situation?
Well, no, regarding the criminal justice system and...
Oh, no, he was guilty. He deserved everything he got. Yeah.
Okay. So nothing about that would keep you from being...
No.
And the last thing I want to talk to you about is what you've indicated in your questionnaire about having 2 young children that you homeschool.
Wow. My daughter's 14 and my son's 7. And they go to Georgia Cyber Academy.
They go to where?
Georgia Cyber Academy.
Okay.
So my 7-year-old, well, honestly, my 14-year-old I know for sure is going back. She'll be in 9th grade. My 7-year-old I might put in school because I don't want to homeschool him anymore.
Okay.
But I'm the only adult at the house. My husband's a truck driver, so he's only home on Saturdays and Sundays. So rather I keep him in Georgia Cyber Academy, or if he goes to school, if he's in Georgia Cyber Academy, I'm his primary teacher. I have to go over all his work with him. And if he goes to school, then I'm the only way he has to get back and forth.
Okay, well, let's take the two separately.
Okay.
If you decide to put him in school, you said that you are his only transportation.
Yes,
Would
because
you
it's a
be
private
able-
school.
I'm sorry?
It's a private school, so they don't have buses.
All right, they don't have buses.
No.
Do you have a family member or a friend that might be able to?
I don't have any family here outside of my immediate family. And my friend she's recently got really, really sick, and she's not going to be able to do it.
Okay. What about a neighbor?
I don't talk to my neighbors.
You don't talk to your neighbors. Okay. And what about, well, do you know any other students that attend the school you're considering?
No, because it'll be his first year. I mean, I could talk to the teacher, because she doesn't live too far from me, to see if she would be willing to do it, but there's no guarantee she would.
Okay.
I could ask.
If you were to ask, it would be something you're comfortable doing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so that's if you decide to put him in school.
Yes.
If you decide to continue to homeschool, how would serving on a jury affect your ability to do that?
As long as I can go home every day, I guess it wouldn't, because I could just teach him at night, whatever the, yeah.
Okay.
The jury will not be sequestered, and everyone will have an opportunity to leave the courthouse.
Okay.
But you will decide whether or not you want to go home.
Okay. Well, the homeschooling wouldn't be a problem.
Homeschooling would not be a problem.
Yeah. But I'll know come Friday if I'm going to put him in a school or not, because I meet with the teacher tomorrow.
Okay, so you meet with the teacher tomorrow, and you will know.
By tomorrow, actually. After I meet with the teacher, if I'm going to put him in a school or not.
So.
Next question, Ms. Hill.
Yes, Judge. Assuming we had to know today or tomorrow, and you haven't had an opportunity to speak to the teacher, do you have a hardship with your son?
What do you mean a hardship with my
Would
son?
you not be able to get him to school?
I would not be able to get him to school.
Okay.
What time is school open?
8:15 to 3:15.
Assuming without deciding you are selected, would it be possible for you to drop your child at school prior to 8:15?
I could ask the teacher.
I mean, school starts at 8:15, is that correct?
Right. I could probably drop him off by 8. Or,
Right.
I mean, I could ask if he could come earlier than that. But
Well,
I
it'll be
don't.
fine because we're going to give you a time report here, but now it's the pickup time.
It's 3:15.
3:15. Does this school offer any after-school programs?
I don't know. I haven't met with anyone yet.
Because we may be going, we're going to stop at reasonable hours, but I'm not going to commit that we're going to stop at 3:15. I may say 5 o'clock every day. If you're selected and your child is in that school, would you be able to make arrangements to either the child be in an after-school program from 3:15, let's say 5:30, or someone else may be able to pick up your child, if possible?
I could ask. That's all I could do.
Okay.
Because I don't know right now.
I understand. Next question, Ms. Hill.
I have no further questions.
All right, Ms. Beaton.
Oh, well, don't go yet.
One other lawyer has to ask questions.
Okay. Okay.
The religious and moral reservation you have about rendering judgment on somebody, the court hasn't yet, but will eventually, in this case, tell the jurors, here's what the rules are regarding the burden of proof on the state. And here's what a jury must find in order to find the defendant guilty. And again, this is not the time to go into that. but there is a chance that that could be different from what your religious belief is about rendering judgment, okay?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a religious belief about rendering judgment. It's more so just me. I don't.
A personal moral belief.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever, whether it's philosophical or religious or moral, you do have personal beliefs about rendering judgment.
For me,
Correct?
yes.
From you yourself.
Yes.
And the court's going to say, okay, folks on the jury, here's what I need from you. Here are the rules that you follow. And what I hear you say is that if that differs, if what Judge Adams tells you differs from what your personal belief is, you believe you could follow what Judge Adams tells you.
I have to, because religiously, once you take an oath, you have to follow that oath.
Okay.
No
I
matter
just
what.
want to make sure I understood that correctly.
Okay.
And the only other area I want to make sure I understand is you will know whether it's your 7-year-old that you're determining whether or not it's going to go to the private school or stay at home at the
Yes.
Cyber Academy.
Yes.
You will know by...
Tomorrow, once I meet with the teacher.
Okay.
At 11.
At what time?
11.
Okay. There is a chance that you would be asked to be back here tomorrow at 1:30. Would that work out? Would you be able to have an answer for us if you were to report back in this courtroom at 1:30?
Yeah, I could probably push my appointment up with her earlier.
Okay.
So I could be here by
Okay.
1:30.
So by tomorrow at 1:30, you should be able to say, I'm in Cyber Academy or I'm in the private school, and if I'm in private school, they would let me drop my son off a little bit early for this, during this trial. Okay, that's all I have, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, juror number 18. Would you follow the clerk, please? Thank you. What's the state's position?
Judge, it's hard to tell with this juror right
I know,
now.
just tell me your
I
position,
know,
that's all.
I thought she said she wasn't going to meet with the school until Friday. She wouldn't be able to tell us until Friday, but Mr. Petrie asked her about tomorrow. So, I don't know, I think right now I think she has a hardship, so we'd ask that she be removed for cause because the situation with her son in school is kind of up in the air, and I don't know where she stands on that. Because of that, I think...
Did you want me to bring her back out so you can ask any follow-up questions? Because we're making decisions right now, so I'm just asking the state's position.
Right now, Judge, I think based on her answer, she would qualify for a hardship.
Well, everything is based on everybody's answers. So I'm just telling me, what is the state's
Well,
position?
based on her answers, Judge,
What is the state's position? That's all I'm asking.
I think she qualifies for hardship, which would be because of the care of her son and not being able to get him back and forth to school. And also...
Thank you, Ms. Hill. What's the best position?
The court almost to hear a yea or nay. We'll join in that motion.
I have two other partners yet.
Request that the court excuse the
If there's a joint motion, I will accept that.
Yes, sir, we will join in that motion.
She'll be removed for cause on that joint motion for cause. Juror number 81 will be coming in next, lawyers. Thank you. Ms. Hill, she's with you.
Thank you, Judge. Okay, juror 81. Let's see. You didn't raise your hand this afternoon to any of the questions that the court or Mr. James asked, did you?
No.
Okay, and speak up for us so that
Okay.
everyone can hear you, okay? You made a few references in your questionnaire to the fact that you are not comfortable with your English. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, up until this point, have you had any problems understanding the process and what's going on?
I don't know.
I didn't hear you.
I can't understand English
You don't understand
well.
my question?
Yeah. No, English well.
Oh, you don't? Okay. You don't understand English well?
Yeah.
Since you've been here, on Friday,
Yeah.
did you have any problems filling out the questionnaire?
Yes, I was helped. They told them to help me. They're gonna help me. When we filled out the paper,
Mhm.
they was help me.
They helped you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they was put the bad English. They was put it that.
So the bad English
Yeah.
answers
Mhm.
someone else put
Yeah.
on the questionnaire?
I tell them I didn't understand well English. After
Okay.
that, they fill out the paper and they
Okay.
put that word.
Okay.
Juror
Is
number
the-
81, what is your first language?
Amharic?
Amharic?
Amharic, Ethiopian language.
And for the purpose of, how long have you been here in the United States?
Almost 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah.
And you work at the farmer's market
Yes, sir.
as a cashier?
Yeah.
All right. You may continue if
Yes,
you wish.
Judge. If you are, Judge, I have no further questions.
We have a-
No, Your Honor, we have no questions, sir.
Thank you very much. You follow the instructions of the clerk.
Oh, thank you.
What's the state's position?
Your Honor, we'd ask that Juror 81 be excused for hardship. She cannot understand the English language very well.
We would join in that motion, Your Honor.
All right, this is a joint motion. 81 will be released for cause based on that joint motion. 82, lawyers will be next. You may proceed.
Juror 82, you told us this afternoon that if you were selected to serve as a juror on this case, a 2 to 3 week trial could potentially cause a conflict for you. And I need for you to respond audibly because it's being taken.
Oh, yeah, yes, okay. You want to know why?
Yes,
Is that,
please.
okay, the reason is because I've got a real estate closing on the 31st of August, and we may be, you might be through by then, I'm not sure, but
August 31st, so it's on a Saturday?
then it's the 30th.
I'm sorry, August the 30th on a Friday?
Uh-huh.
What time will it close?
I don't know yet, but this is something that's been going on for 30 years with my family, and so I would have to, I'm not sure what, but it wouldn't probably take a real long time, I wouldn't think. It's in Atlanta.
Right, but August the 30th, is that's the day.
I'm not positive it's the 30th or 31st. I'll have to look. I'll have to find out. Look.
It's either 30 days from now, 31 days from now.
It's, let's see. Yeah.
I will be able to get you there.
Okay. Okay.
Next question.
Yes, Judge. Okay, and that was the only.
That was it,
conflict.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let me move to a few answers in your questionnaire. You've told us about a situation that your daughter dealt with regarding a vehicular homicide.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 1993?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that you thought she was treated fairly.
Mm-hmm.
So is it fair to say that you don't have any remaining feelings regarding the criminal justice system that would affect you if you were to serve as a juror?
No.
Okay. You've actually served as a juror before.
I have.
Is that correct? It appears to have been a criminal case. You said money.
I had one criminal case and one civil.
Okay. How long ago were both jury services?
The criminal case was a federal case. I was on federal jury, and it was, probably 2 years ago.
Were you foreperson on that?
No.
And you all reached a verdict in both cases?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything about your either federal or state experience that would stay with you and affect your ability to be fair and impartial if you were selected as a juror in this case?
I don't think so.
Okay. And you're married to an attorney?
Yes.
Anything about the fact that your husband is an attorney? And I would imagine you hear some stories about anything about any conversations or any comments or feelings that your husband may have expressed that you think would affect your ability to be fair and impartial?
No, he's a civil attorney.
Let me ask you this.
Was.
If you're selected for this particular case, like I instructed the other jurors, you won't be able to discuss the case with anyone at this point in time until you get to deliberation and deliberate of the jurors. Now, I understand you'll be going, or you have the ability to go home each night with a lawyer. Do you think you'll be able to go to that residence and not ask your husband questions about the case, or ask your husband questions about the lawyers or anything about the process? Can you do that?
I wouldn't ask him. No, he's retired also, and he doesn't want anything to do with the law anymore.
Go ahead, Ms.
He's not curious.
You told us that you know a bit about this case.
Yes.
And
Oh, sorry.
tell us what you know about the case.
I've just seen a lot of coverage on television about it, just on the local news and some on headline news, and just different places.
Have you formed any opinions based on what you've seen up until this point?
No, I haven't really formed any opinions. I just I think it's an unfortunate case.
What do you know about it?
I know that Hemi Newman, is that his name? Hemi Newman was found guilty. And I know that it was Ms. Sneiderman's husband. And I know that a lot of people think that she had something to do with it. And that's basically pretty much it.
All right. And you actually indicated in your questionnaire that you thought you could be fair and impartial based on...
Yes, I do. I think so, yes.
Okay. But you have, in fact, participated in discussions about this case.
Here and there, yeah.
You said with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us if you recall any of the conversations you've had with your friends.
Oh, goodness. I honestly can't remember
All right.
any specific conversations.
Okay. And I think you told us, and I just want to confirm on the record, that you would go by the evidence if you were selected to serve as a juror in this case. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you could set aside anything that you may have had and any conversations you may have had.
Yes.
As it relates to the facts of this case.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Juror number 82, I couldn't tell from your questionnaire, was your husband a bankruptcy lawyer?
He was in private practice for about 25 years, and he did that, and then he went to work for the state of Georgia. He was an administrative law judge.
Oh, he was an ALJ or
Mm-hmm. And then he's retired now, but then he went to work for the Department of Human Resources and became their lead attorney, and then he was the judge of last appeals for
DHR.
For DHR.
Did you work in this firm at any time during
No.
this career? Your daughter's case, was that City of Atlanta Fulton or City of Atlanta DeKalb?
Fulton.
Okay, so it was DeKalb County DA's office was not involved in that
No.
case? Okay. And you're involved in a zoning dispute in Harris County?
Mm-hmm.
They have zoning in Harris County?
They do.
Is that a family property?
It is some land that has been in my family for several hundred years. And we've had it leased to a rock quarry down there. It's one of 3 rock quarries. And they fought the zoning, they fought it tooth and nail. And finally, they sued them, the concrete company sued the board of, I guess the Harris County, and they won. And then they took it to the appeals court, and they still won. We won.
So are you the plaintiff in the case, I guess is where I was going?
Is the plaintiff who did the suing?
Yes.
Yes. And it finally got resolved. This has been going on 30 years. It finally got resolved, and the closing is August 30th or 31st.
So that's the closing you're talking about?
Right, that we can sell our land to the rock quarry.
But that closing is here, it's not in Harris County?
No, it's here.
Okay. No further questions, thank you.
Thank you. We follow the instructions of the clerk. State your position.
I believe juror 82 is qualified juror, Judge.
Defense.
Great, Judge.
All right. 82 is qualified. Number 83 should be coming in next, lawyers. Ms. Hill, he's with you.
Juror 83, let me start by following up with a couple of the answers you gave us this afternoon.
Okay.
Earlier today, okay? You told us that a 2 to 3 week trial could potentially be a hardship for you.
Yeah, I'm a small business owner as well as a pastor, so my time, and then I'm traveling to California at the end of the month, so time becomes very essential for me.
When are you traveling to California?
Around the 28th.
Of August?
Of August, that's correct.
You have those tickets already?
No, I don't have them already, but I have the dates already.
Okay, and you leave on the 28th, or you need to be there on the 28th?
It's in there somewhere. The trial came up, so my wife didn't buy the tickets because I didn't know if I was going to be a juror or not.
Okay.
So as of right now, there are no...
There are no tickets.
And there are no non-refundable tickets.
And there are no non-refundable tickets.
Right ahead.
And was it business or pleasure?
Pleasure.
Okay. Now, let's talk about your business. What kind of business is it?
Painting, commercial painting company.
Do you have any employees?
Yes.
How many?
4.
What's your day-to-day role in the business?
I manage the work and I also do the bidding, the estimating for the company.
Do you have any current bids that you're working on?
Yes, we do quite a bit of work with DeKalb County.
Okay, and that's a current bid that you're working on?
Yeah, that's a current bid.
All right. Is it something that you could work on in the evenings?
Well, anything is possible, but I try not to because I'm a pastor, so my evening hours, like today when I discovered that I had to be here, I was headed to Bible study. So, you know, my evening times, I don't relegate it to business.
Okay. So let me just ask you this. If you were selected to serve as a juror on this case, how does it impact your ability to get your work done? Recognizing you don't like to relegate the evening hours to doing work, but if you had to, could you?
Well, you know, when we put it in a generic sense or generalization, anything is possible, but our business runs from day to day and from the mornings to the afternoon because that's when you deal with clients. We don't deal with clients in the evenings. I mean, the internet has accessibility, so you can always do some of the things in accessibility, but a lot of it is voice to voice and face to face.
Understood. Do you have any current contracts that you are working on that would be affected if you were selected to serve as a juror?
No, not per se right now, because our company can, some parts of it can function on its own. But in terms of getting a new business, it would be a hardship. The judge asked earlier, would I lose my house? I probably wouldn't lose my house or anything like that.
Not quite that drastic. It might be a little tight, but you could maintain.
I've been blessed, so I think we will be okay.
You also told us earlier that you have formed an opinion regarding the guilt or innocence of the defendant in this case. Is that correct?
No, I didn't say I formed an opinion. I think the question was stated, would I have I been influenced by, I'm just dealing with my recollection, about the case so far, and what has transpired is that the case has been all over the media. So it would be difficult not to have an opinion to a certain degree about a case that's been in the media from the very onset. And once the facts came out, or those that were involved, that you wouldn't sit around your dinner table and discuss it at one time or another. But to say that I've determined guilt or innocence, I haven't done that because I don't know the facts of the case.
Okay. So you haven't determined guilt or innocence, but you have formed opinions just based on what you've seen?
Yes, I do have a opinion.
Okay. What is that opinion?
Well, you know, my overall opinion is that, well, somebody knows something and somebody would have to be involved to a certain degree. And that's basically played out based on what's in the media.
Okay. And if I heard you correctly, just your answer just prior to the last one, you've indicated while you may have formed an opinion, it's based on what you heard in the media. If you were selected to sit as a juror in this case, could you listen to evidence that's presented from the witness stand with an open mind despite what you may have heard in the media?
Yeah, I believe I could do that.
Okay. And could you base any verdict that you may come up with solely on the evidence that is presented in the courtroom and the law that is given to you by the judge?
Yes.
Let me ask you, when you said in question 61 the question is, do you feel that you cannot or should not serve as a juror in this case for any reason not covered by the questionnaire? You put yes, not being able to be impartial. Were you referring to the discussion that we just had?
Yeah, I was referring to the discussion that we've just had based on the publicity that's been surrounding this case. And when you hear that type of publicity about a case, innately you form some sort of an opinion concerning that. Because we live in a very cynical time, and we also live in a time where everybody have an opinion, and we have a tendency to believe the latter, the worse, as opposed to, the better.
And the fact that we all,
yeah, we all,
opinions, I hear you saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that your opinion is not so fixed that if you were selected as a jury, that you would be unable to set aside whatever opinions you formed up to this point.
That's correct.
Okay. When you said in question 42 that you had strong feelings and opinions about the criminal justice system, do you remember what your answer was?
No, I don't remember what my answer was.
You said yes, would like to see justice done properly.
Right, right.
Elaborate on that for us, if you can, please.
Well, you see justice some days, and sometimes people are getting off on technicalities because those that have a tendency to prosecute the cases have not been thorough in their assessment of the information that has been brought to them. Or, jurors are kind of like the stock market sometimes. We can miss some points, and it can affect whether we will go to the right or to the left. And also, too, I've been faced with identity theft, and it wasn't prosecuted. And then I've also been faced with people breaking into properties that I own in DeKalb County, and nothing has come out of it. So my bias my statement was based on the things that I've experienced and the results that I received from it. And if you ask me today, were I happy about those results? Of course not, because I suffered loss.
Right. And the fact that obviously you were not happy with the way those situations were dealt with, would there be any long-standing feelings that you still maintain as a result of those experiences that you would bring into your jury service?
No, you just have to move on. It is what it is.
All right. Okay. And I didn't see you raise your hand to Mr. James's question about whether you had any biases or prejudices towards prosecutors or...
Oh, no. Mr. James, he came to our community association meeting when he was running for office, and I serve on Black DeKalb Caucus with Stan Watson and Larry Johnson, so I don't have any bias concerning prosecutors. I mean, they're people just like we are. So we do the best that we can, and we try to carry out and do the best job that we can. And so that's all you can expect from anyone.
Okay. And the fact that Mr. James actually came out and spoke to the community group, would it affect you in any way if you were selected to serve?
No, many politicians are people that's running from office, and we just have a saying: if you come to Churchill Downs, chances are you'll be elected. So we don't view that as being too much.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Petrie.
Thank you. Sir, you're originally from Mobile Bay Area, correct?
That's right, the great state of Alabama.
Absolutely. You've been in Georgia. I know it says how long you've been in DeKalb County. How long have you been in Georgia?
I've been in Georgia since 1974.
Okay. And in 1974, were you in the metro Atlanta area?
Yes, I was in Fulton County.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Have you ever either witnessed an incident yourself or had firsthand knowledge about an incident or something that happened that later was reported either in the newspaper or the television?
No.
Have you ever seen a news report or read something in the newspaper that you later found out, hey, what I heard or saw previously or read was inaccurate?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I'm asking that, sir, is earlier you said that on television, the publicity about this case, what you learned was the facts. And you used the word facts. Would you agree with me?
I don't recall using the word
Okay,
fact.
I believe you did, but if you did use that word, would you agree with me that if you're chosen as a juror, your duty that the court will tell you is to take the facts from this courtroom, not from a newspaper, not from a TV, not from a radio, not from them?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, and you could do that 100%?
I'm sure I could.
Okay. Now, you indicated in your questionnaire, sir, about the hardship, and I just want to make sure that I understand that correctly. You have a painting business,
That's
commercial
correct.
painting,
Yes,
and you're also a pastor.
that's correct.
And the painting business, what you would be missing out on right now would not be falling back on the work that your crew is currently doing,
That's
but
correct.
falling behind on getting bids out on future work.
Yeah, the administrative area.
Okay. But did I understand you correctly that even if you were here not able to fully get the bids out and get a step ahead over the next 3 weeks, it may be a hardship for you, but that it is one that you believe in exercising your civic duty as a juror, you could overcome?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Number 83, before you go, you had indicated the possible trip at the end of August. What was that possible date?
The 28th, around the 28th. I was going to be going to LA, San Diego, and Manchester, California.
All right, based on the, all it is an estimation at this time, based on the estimation on time period, the case may go out 3 weeks, and it may be a little bit short, maybe a little bit long. It'll be within that, it'll be concluded before that date.
Right.
The question I have to ask, if you are selected, will you be able to devote your full concentration to this case while you're here?
Yes, sir, I think I could. The only other thing I have going, we have our church conference from the 21st through the 23rd of August and concluding on the 26th. So away from that, you know.
Right, but I thought you took straight. That's why I asked the first question. The first one is
The first one was about travel.
Correct.
And that's the end of the month. And I'm just letting you know that even in that month, I have other things that I'm dealing with that's church related.
Oh, I understand.
That has nothing to do with travel.
Right, all right. Let me just ask about that then. The church conference, is that something you're hosting here?
Yeah, we host here at our church's annual.
Correct. Is that something you're in charge of?
Yeah, I'm the pastor. I'm in charge of. I have an administrators and I have other ministers and deacons, but I'm the pastor. I'm the CEO of the church.
No,
Let's put it like that.
Yes, sir. I understand that. But what I'm trying to just ask as directly as I can, if you're here, I'm not saying you will be. Because
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
at that point yet. And I understand those things are later this month.
Yes, sir.
Would you be able to focus and concentrate and give your full attention to the testimony and the lawyers and all that will give you while you're here, if you're selected?
Yeah, I believe I could do that, yes.
And I understand, and let me just be candid, nobody really wants to be here with me.
Yeah, you get paid, right, Judge?
Well, no, it's not just that. It's a matter of, but I need people to focus and be attentive while they're here. And I understand people will do other things in the evening, but I just need them to give 110% attention to the case if they're selected. That's what
Yeah, I understand that. Yes,
If
sir.
you're selected, I'm not saying you will be.
Right.
You'll be able to focus if you're selected.
Yeah, if I'm selected, it would be my responsibility and my obligation to focus on what's being presented in this court.
All right. Any follow-up from the state or the defense?
No, sir.
You may.
I had misread your written answers, then, sir, the church conference, I thought that was somehow connected with the California. The church conference is here.
No, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I travel all over the world, so you know, you understand what I'm saying. I travel extensively in Europe and everywhere. So.
But the church conference would be from when to when, but it would be here.
Yeah, it'd be in Tucker, Georgia.
Okay, and it goes through the 26th, which is, I believe,
Which will be a Sunday. It'll conclude on that Sunday.
Okay, and it starts on a what?
On a Wednesday.
August 21st.
That's correct.
August 21st.
Yeah, and
starts, and your your involvement and responsibilities would be daytime responsibilities during that time?
Some daytime as well as evening.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I just thought that I would mention that so that
No, we need
we would be clear on that, because initially when they talked to me over in the room where we all went, I brought that to them and they said that the only time I would have to present it to the lawyers so that we would be clear on the
I
procedures.
just misread your
Yeah,
written.
my writing probably wasn't that good either, so I understand that.
Any other potential conflicts you want to bring to our attention?
No, sir, not away from visiting the sick and the homeless and feeding those on the street. We're good.
Thank you. Would you follow the instructions?
All right, thank you, Judge.
State's position.
Your Honor, we believe he's qualified for juror.
Defense.
Yes, sir.
Number 83 is qualified. Boys, we're going to take a break. Mr. Deputy, that's what I'm just letting you know. That's number 83 is qualified. And lawyers, the next person coming in after the break will be number 84, all right? About 10 minutes.
All right.